Yeah, someone just hit that bomb. And they hit little safe.
Oh! Yeah, there ain't jack shit here.
They're inside already.
Now we gaslight our teammates.
The other side too.
Are they just holding the exits? That answers that. I hit him while they're rezzing. He's rezzing on your dead body. Push that, push the res.
Pushing it.
Enemy there.
Other one's over to the left of it.
You'll be
I'm playing
fine.
res.
Get up.
I grabbed his res.
He might push me. Nice.
Ah, damn. That was a beautiful place.
What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another Delta Force video, and today I'm going to be talking about what I feel is the best way to make money for people who are just getting into the game. I wanted to make some kits that I feel would be viable for the upcoming gear cap that's supposed to be coming next season. I don't know if it's confirmed or not. I don't want to speculate, but for those who don't know what it is, basically in easy mode, you'll only be able to enter with tier 3 ammunition and tier 4 armor. Anything higher than that, you won't be able to enter that difficulty level. Now, firstly, you might be asking, why am I even doing budget runs in the first place? I've got 30 mil, almost 31 mil Technic alloy. What are you doing? Well, I'm grinding for 50 mil because it's part of a quest. Now, if you aren't like that, let's just say you're absolutely completely broke. Don't even consider a gear set. What you need to be doing is running your standard, or not standard, but your recruit tickets. And I know if you've looked into this topic, you've probably seen videos of, myself using the Mini 14 or other people using the Car 15 kit and bringing in good ammo and going and PvPing and making money. Listen, if you're new to the game, you're not going to be going you're going out to admin and 1v3ing an entire team with a stock Car 15 recruit ticket. It's just not viable. You can't reasonably ask a brand new player to this game to do that. And especially if you're solo, with the way operator abilities work, it's more like a hero shooter mixed with extraction shooter. It makes it way harder to play solo. It's a very team-based game. So what I would do is I would just grab one of these, one of the recruit tickets that has 15 slots in the backpack. You use it, you load it up, you just try and fill every slot with anything you can. Maybe not so much the gray items, but if you're able to find like a 1-slot green item that's 5k, filling one of these slots with a 5k item is a lot better than not filling it at all. The game gives you a lot of these tickets. I would honestly, if you're 100% broke, just run these kits up until you get like 2-3 mil maybe, and then start running your budget kits that give you a little bit more survivability and a little bit more ability to PvP. Now, the first weapon I'm going to be talking about is the M16A4. This is a 3-round burst 5.56 assault rifle, which I've recently started using, and I've found it a very viable weapon for budget runs. Now, 5.56 weapons have sort of earned themselves a reputation for being unreliable in Delta Force, but there's a few things I noticed with the M16 that made it a bit different. Firstly, when you compare it to something like the M4A1, the M16 has a significantly higher base damage, base effective range, and base armor penetration stat. And what I found out from using the M16 is that it will essentially one burst a full tier 4 purple helmet with M855. That's the blue or tier 3 ammo. Getting a little bit more into the M16 build, as you can see, most of this is green attachments that you get from the supply station, so the price doesn't really fluctuate. But, you know, using the Whisper Tactical Suppressor, obviously just for a little bit more muzzle velocity, not so much for the effective range, because the effective range is almost at like 50 from base, so that doesn't matter. We're not really engaging at long ranges, as you can see from the holographic, but it's more so the muzzle velocity, how fast the round is traveling from a weapon to your target. The faster your bullet hits your target, the faster they die. Pretty simple concept. Now, I usually run a laser on the top rail for this barrel because you can't put any of the handguard attachments on it. I just prefer the purple laser, but if you're crafting, you craft 4 lasers at a time, so it shaves a little bit of money, or it shaves a little bit of cost off of the build itself. So holographic sight, 5 control rails, a polymer mag for a little bit more stability, and then a mag mount for handling. Just, green rear grip costs $3K. This stock kind of fluctuates a little bit. It'll be $10 to $12K. And then our calibration, we're pretty much going into full control and stability. You get a little bit more muzzle velocity for calibrating the barrel and some firing stability. Foregrip, extra control, stability while moving. That's just for like if you're strafing, your sight's not going to be swaying when you're shooting. It's again more stability while moving, plus 6% extra control, plus 3.8% firing stability, plus 6% more control. You could calibrate this to ADS speed if you wanted, but with a laser and a 1x sight, you're going to be ADSing pretty fast anyway. You throw some attachments to get the recoil control up, you basically have yourself a budget weapon that can easily take out opponents rocking tier 4 gear. The build itself will fluctuate between 90 to 120K depending on the prices of the muzzle and laser attachments. Now I usually craft my own lasers and have them stockpiled, so that significantly reduced the cost of the build. And with the tier 3 ammo only costing roughly 250 Technic alloy per round, it's actually an insanely reliable budget weapon that I've really enjoyed using lately. I'll also leave a link to a MP5 build if you do enjoy doing your budget runs on Zero Dam. But for this video, I'm only going to be covering loot runs on Lay Alley Grove because I'm bored of Zero Dam, and SMGs are not a viable option for that large map. Alright, now let's cover the rest of the kit. I've covered similar kits like this in videos before for where I've talked about budget runs, things like that. I know the gear value says 259K, which is essentially correct because it's not counting ammo and meds. In total, this kit costs around 330K. That's including all your ammo, meds, these armor repairs. Now, you can get a lot of this stuff pretty cheap from going to supply station and your base support station. And basically, you want to barter. I never pay full price for these. If you look, go to source, purchase. I mean, 53K for that helmet, I wouldn't pay that. That's way too much. 42K for this vest. You go, it's 66K on the market. That's way too high. Just, wait until you can barter and get that. Now, if you are someone who has the battle pass gives you a lot of these, gear boxes for free. So if you go down to collection, items, as you can see, I have 11 of these sitting here. When you use one, you get a choice between ammo, the MC201 helmet, and the TGH tactical vest. So you can, if you have the battle pass, you're essentially there's a lot of ways to get this gear for cheap or for free. Now, these are usually the meds that I keep in my safe box. If you have the battle pass, you're getting the 2x3 safe container, which is really handy. I'll usually pick up a tactical surgical kit. This one is pretty quick to use. I also prefer having the outdoor med crate as opposed to the field first aid kit. If you're really, really hurting for money, run the field first aid kit, keep it in the safe box so if you die, you don't lose it and you don't have to rebuy your meds. However, this barters for pretty cheap, and it'll also heal a bleed and give you a short painkiller effect. It'll do one or the other, but the activation time is only 4 seconds. This one takes a little bit longer to use than the outdoor crate, so I'll usually keep this one in the safe box. And the only time I'll take these meds out of the safe box is when I'm using them, or not when I'm using them, but if I find something that is more value per slot. So, you happen to get a red item, whatever, you start slowly throwing your high value loot that you find into the safe box, so that way at the very least you get out with it, and if you die, you still made some sort of money. I keep 2 enhanced injectors for really quick heals, a cat tourniquet in case of fixing bleeds. Now, I'll use the first stamina activator. I don't use it right off the rip. I know before I've said, I use it right off the rip and then pop a perception activator and run straight to a fight. If you're doing loot runs, basically the way I do it is I will hit 2 hotspots, 2 loot hotspots. Now, I'm not talking like hotel or lab. Those are like high-risk PvP areas. But 2 spots where I know there's loot, and I'll usually get out, maybe hit another spot on the way if I have time. So after I finish looting one spot, pop the stamina activator. What this does is it increases your max stamina and stamina recovery speed for 180 seconds. It's just really good for traversing the map quickly. So I'll keep one in the pocket because I'm going to use it immediately. I'll keep one in the safe box in case I die right off the rip, and, you know, if the team pushes my spawn. And then a combat stem. This will just fully recover your stamina as soon as you use it. So if your stamina runs out when you're trying to get to extract and you just need to get there quickly, pop the combat stem, boom, you're there. So, and then sometimes I'll also bring a helmet and vest repair kit. So like if your armor happens to get zeroed, you can at least get another like full repair out of it. Now, like I said, this kit typically costs around 330K. To pay the kit off, you'll have to fill each slot with approximately 7.5K per slot of loot value. If you want to go a little bit cheaper, I've got another loadout. It kind of is just like, hey, you're trying to run a little bit more lean. It's essentially the same backpack, same chest rig, but you have the TGH tactical vest and outdoor baseball cap instead. With this kit costs around 250K, so it knocks about, well, a little bit close to 100K off of the entire kit, and you'll only need to get about 5.8K per slot to pay for the kit. Now you can barter for this TGH vest, and it only costs about 29 to 30K. This helmet is only 9,650. Now it offers no protection, but you're going to get a little bit better hearing. And the reason the meds are up here in the loadout instead of down in the safe box, I have to manually move them down to the safe box because for some reason, if I have the 2x3 equipped and I try and save items into the safe box, it glitches out and it doesn't save them in the safe box, and it doesn't, you don't actually have the items on you. All right, now let's talk about key cards. There are some people who will tell you that key cards are not worth running on easy mode. There's some people who also say they're only useful running on easy mode. Here's kind of what I've discovered, right? Let's go to auction. Let's go to key cards. Now, Layali Grove, King Suite, $4 million key card. If you look here in easy, when you use these key cards in easy, it only takes 1 durability. In normal, it costs 2, and in hard operations, which we don't have yet, it costs 4. Essentially, to make your money per swipe using a card like this on easy mode, the room would have to give you 200K at like minimum just to pay for that one swipe. Rarely happens. And then if you're doing like normals, obviously it doubles that because you're using 2 uses. You're gonna have to make like 400K per room. These red key cards that are very expensive, if you're trying to do loot runs with them, I wouldn't recommend it because you're not going to pay off each swipe. These I'd recommend if you're going for like a specific item, say you're looking for a bust of Claudius or something, which, those do spawn in the safes and loose loot in King Suite. That is when I would recommend getting a card like this, but the likelihood of you making your money off of your swipes in normal mode for like King Suite or Zero Dam, like E-Swing Manager's Office, the likelihood is very, very low. Unless like you're getting a red, and there's so many people I've seen that have, used up card after card after card and haven't gotten a single red on like easy and normals. So these cards, the red ones, rarely pay for themselves. Now let's look at the cards that I do have. So I've got Town Tiner, which is pretty much a 500K key card. Now, if your key card is 500K or below, it's 100% worth using on easy mode, because with 20 uses of this card specifically, essentially I only have to make 25K to pay off the swipe. So if I get like 2 blue items, which is very easily doable, it happens very often on easy mode, I've paid for the swipe. Same thing with checkpoint storeroom, farm admin room, and small train ticket office. These cards are very cheap, and it's very easy to get blues out of them in easy mode. So for something like small train station ticket office, I only have to make like 2.5K from the room to pay off the swipe.
Let's review the objectives. Keep them in mind. Complete the mission for rewards. Find high-value items and extract.
All right, I think my only bet here is to push back to small train station and hope that a team doesn't come there and hope they all just go to a Minya. More than likely someone's at train station, but we'll see. I keep forgetting this gun always defaults to single fire. Let's check for gamers before we start looting. What was that? Oh my god, what the f— Okay. What were they doing there? I'm wondering. All right, so there's probably teams going to hotel with that. So we're just gonna check. Gonna make sure our path is clear. There's still AI up on the road, so that's a good sign. And what we're just checking here, we're seeing if anyone's like camping usual spots. So back here of sub, the ridge line up here at the tank, because this is a pretty risky spot to run, so we don't want to get caught in the open. I'm also trying to check if that extract's open, but I don't think it is. What is going on, guys? Editor Warpig back here again. Now, as you can see, I am at the west end of the Sparkling Empress Hotel, in between that and Substation. And where I'm looking at in between the cracks of that little fence is I'm checking the normal sniper spots where someone would be laying down. Now, I know it's a little bit harder to do now because there is no sniper glint. All the scopes are bugged at this point in time. But essentially, I'm just checking to see if I can spot any movement, you know, teams moving across. Now, the way I like to move here is obviously you don't want to cut across the river right between Substation and Hotel. That's just asking for death. I typically like to cut through small pathways where, sure, maybe it's a one direction pathway where I could get shot from direct front, but the way Layali's laid out, my chances of survival for that are a lot better if I have cover at least on one side. If I do happen to get engaged, I can at least smoke and dip and, you know, find a different path. So I go and I check the other boat extract on this side. It's not open. I take the zip line up and then I start heading to extract. All right, so do you think they're gonna add solos? That's what they're saying. That because I know Chinese version has solo mode open on the weekends. Thinking playing solo is better than playing with randoms at this point. I mean, I just had a 1.4 mil come up. Now, granted, I was fighting a squad that did God knows what in the beginning.